Ed at 39, the same age as Malcolm and Martin.
That's
Who would
right.
have thought that she'd be able to get so much in so little time, brother? But she is a truth teller in her sound, and she's able to tell the. Well, we got to give credit to Clyde. You know, Clyde Otis wrote the song so that he produced the song, but she brought out the deeper truths of the song and just how Job-like. You know, we were talking about the book of Job, those 42 chapters in Hebrews, brother, dealing with undeserved suffering and unwarranted harm. And yet, how do you generate perseverance? And that's what we see in Ruth Lee Jones. That's what we see in Dinah Washington. Lettucey, of course, just put out an album a few weeks ago for Dinah. Thank God for Lettucey out of Oakland, born in New Orleans, keeping the great legacy alive. But we need that sense of reality, brother. Even as we keep our eyes on the stars, we still got to deal with the gutter. We got to deal with the ghetto. We got to deal with the hoods, the barrios, the reservations, the working peoples, the wretched of the earth, and the language of France. For no, we never give up on their potential and possibility.
No, Doc just mentioned a moment ago. Well, so he and I saw each other. We saw each other over the Thanksgiving holidays. I mentioned last Monday. He was here in studio last Monday. And, of course, we were away on Thursday for actual our Thanksgiving celebration, so we weren't here live on Thursday. But I saw him Monday here in studio. You all heard him, of course, here in studio then. And so he was in town all last week, so we got together. And we spent one day just hours talking about the book of Job. But I tell you, that conversation, man, I'm still on cloud nine and still wrestling with some of the formulations that Doc laid out that day. And we went back and forth talking about the book of Job. I wish I could have recorded that conversation. It'd be great radio just to play back the hours of dialogue we had in so many ways. About the book of Job. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my change come. And what's your granddad's favorite scripture, Doc, in that book?
Though he slay me,
yet will I
trust in him.
Yet will I trust him. Yeah. Now, we had some deep dialogue about the book of Job the other day, some deep dialogue. Today, though, I want to talk about three things. And I had two things on my mind, and Doc just gives me a third. I'm going to let him opine on all three of these when we come forward. And they all have to do with numbers. Now, I am not a numerologist, but Doc just mentioned the number 39. We'll talk about that. I've never, all the conversations that Doc and I have had, I mean, countless conversations over all these 40 years, I've never asked him what he thinks about that number 39. Malcolm is dead at 39. Dr. King is dead at 39. Dinah Washington dead at 39. And it takes Cornel West to remind us of that. But I wonder, and again, it's not about so much numerology, but I wonder what he makes of the fact that they're two of our greatest, now three of our greatest, and there are others who are dead at the age of 39. We'll talk about 39 when we come forward. I'm anxious to hear his thought about that. I've never asked him this question. I also want to wrestle with the number 70. Why 70? Glad you asked. Because it was 70 years ago today that Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on that Montgomery bus. 70 years ago today, Rosa Parks said, I ain't moving. Like a tree planted by the water. She told me in many conversations, she was thinking in that moment about Emmett Till, not what I heard, what Miss Parks told me. 70 years ago, Rosa Parks refused to give up that seat. And the third number is 85. Why 85? Because one of the freest men that we have ever known, Doc so says all the time, would have been celebrating his 85th birthday, where he's still here today, and that's Richard Pryor. So we're going to talk about 39, we're going to talk about 70, and 85 when we come forward on this bitter earth with Dr. Cornel West on Tavis Smiley.
One may answer my call, and this bitter earth may not, be so bitter.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed with Dr. Cornel West. I love Dr. West, as you all know. I love him and would take a bullet for him. And yet I also love this audience. I say it all the time. I love a bright audience. I love a cosmopolitan audience. And yeah, my sense is that if you curate a smart show, which I try to do every day, God knows I try. If you curate a smart show, you're going to, of necessity, on demand, curate a smart audience. And so you bring people along like Cornel West, you get a smart audience. And that's not to suggest that we have, a monopoly on the truth or that we're impressed with braininess. I'm just making the point that I love the fact that our audience is so cosmopolitan. And I say that because I'm reading some of the messages that are coming in, Dr. West, even as we speak. And I mentioned 39, and it takes this audience to remind me that Che Guevara is also dead at 39. Now, what audience in radio will be telling you that kind of information? So we're talking about 39, and people that are downloaded me on other well-known people who didn't make it past 39. So they want to add Che Guevara to the list of Malcolm, Martin, and Dinah Washington. That's one comment. The other, I get a kick out of, because I get these all the time, Dr. West. When we played that your walk-on song, Bitter Earth, somebody texted me, Tavis, I haven't heard this song in decades. How can I get Dr. West's playlist? How can I get that brother's playlist? And I laugh. I said, well, if you know Dr. West, the way I do, he really ain't got a playlist. It's all in his head. It doesn't exist in his phone, so to speak. It's just in his head and in his heart. But I digress on that. Let me start with this number. We're gonna go three numbers, Doc. We're gonna play some numerology today. We're gonna start with 39. We're gonna jump to 70 years ago today, and then we're gonna close with 85. One of the freest black men we've ever known, Richard Pryor. Let's start with 39. Again, all the years I've known you, all the conversations we've had about Martin and Malcolm, I have never asked you how you process that both just happened to be gunned down at the age of 39, and that's not including Dinah and Che Guevara and others. But talk to me about that. Has that 39 number ever, resonated with you? Have you ever sort of unpacked that in your own thinking?
But I never really thought about it. I mean, it's true that there's just so many towering figures. I think of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, of course, the great resistor against Hitler. He was executed at 39, and Pascal, one of the great founders of modern philosophy, was dead at 39, as well as Martin and Malcolm, and now Che too. It's fascinating. I was glad just to make it past 33 when Jesus was crucified.
That's it.
I made it to 34. I said, I'm ready to break loose at this point.
Yeah.
Lord, indeed. But 39 is a very distinctive number in terms of so many great ones of all different cultures and civilizations who passed trying to make that 40, it to 40. Now, Coltrane, of course, died at 40, but 39, right on the edge. My God.
Yeah. When I turned 40, Dr. West knows this story well. I've never written about it. I think I maybe have mentioned it once or twice in some private settings. But when I turned 39, on the eve of my 40th birthday, it just happened that I was in fact in Houston, Texas, for a school on a major college campus that was being named after me. A communication school was being named after me on my 40th birthday. And so I was in Texas for the unveiling of the naming of this school. And I had the hardest time that night. I've been having a hard time leading up to that. And on the evening of my 39th birthday, I tossed and I turned, and I had the worst kind of anxiety attack about turning 40. And Dr. West, I literally had to spend some time with him to just work my way through this, because that thing was just worrying me. It took me a while to sort of figure out what that was about. Why was I having such a hard time turning 40? I didn't have that issue at 50, but why such a hard time turning 40? And the more the deeper I went inside, the more I realized that Dr. King has always been, since I was a 12-year-old kid, had always been my hero. And as you hear me say all the time, I regard Dr. King as the greatest American this country has ever produced. That's my sense. And I think Doc agrees with me on that. The greatest American that we've ever produced here. And so on the eve of turning 40, this anxiety, this panic attack hits me. And thankfully, I made it through the night, and we went on to activities the next day. But it took me days to sort of get that out of my system. And it wasn't until I went to see Dr. West, and we literally sat for hours one night, hours and hours and hours talking about this. And I shared with him, as I'm sharing with you now, that I realized that what was so difficult for me was I didn't think I deserved to live longer than Martin. After all that he'd done and all that he'd given the world, why did I deserve? Now, again, it's not my choice. Thank God for Jesus. I didn't perish at 39. But I had a hard time navigating 39 to 40 because it just felt so strange to me that one who had given so much didn't make it past 39, and here I was on the eve of hitting 40. So anyway, that was just a bizarre. That's my connection to that 39 thing. I had a hard time sort of turning 40, but you hear Doc say he got past 33. So yeah, they put Jesus on the cross at 33. So for Doc it was 33. For me it was 39, and thankfully both of us are still here, doing what we do every day, trying to love and serve our people as best we can. That's the 39 number. Let me jump now to 70. It was 70 years ago today that Rosa Parks, Dr. West, refused to give up that seat on that Montgomery bus. I just said on this program last week that I believe when it comes to, and Dr. Malveaux and I were talking in our first hour today, Julianne was on today, we were talking about these economic boycotts that were called for on Black Friday last week. Today is Cyber Monday. And so these economic boycotts have been called to try to deliver a message to these greedy corporate interests in this country. And Dr. King, of course, used protest and boycotts and talked about it all the time. But I raise that because I believe our finest moment as a people, when it comes to solidarity, if you disagree, I'm happy to hear your theory on this. But to my mind, let me rephrase it. There is no greater moment of solidarity for black people than that Montgomery bus boycott that Rosa Parks essentially kicked off 70 years ago. The boycott goes on for a year, Doc, as you well know, and they break the back of that racist bus system in Montgomery. But all them Negroes and the solidarity for an entire year. You can't get Negroes to do nothing for 3 days right about now, but an entire year they boycotted that bus. That all started 70 years ago. You teach this stuff all the time. I'm going to stand down. The microphone is yours.
Yeah, no, but what you're talking about is another wave in the great river of black resistance and black rebellion. And they call it the civil rights movement, but it's really a moment in the black freedom struggle. And that's been going on for 400 years. This is the same Rosa Louise Macaulay, of course. That's where she was born.
That's right.
There at Tuskegee, then moved to Montgomery. But she had already been struggling in support of the Scottsboro Boys. She had already been struggling in response to the gang rape of so many black women. She had already been wrestling with Emmett Till, as you noted. It was on their minds. It was on the minds of black folk around the country about that vicious white supremacist terroristic attack on Precious from Chicago there in Mississippi. So, and she'd been shaped, of course, by Highlander Center, of course, by Miles Fortin. She spent the summer there. Satima Clark, one of the great freedom fighters coming out of South Carolina, had already been in consultation with her months before she decided to sit down in order to stand up for justice. Sit down on a bus in order to stand up for love of black people and for justice for all. And so we get now another great wave, brother. And who would have thought that December 1, 1955, here come Lil Martin, 26 years old. Here come Coretta. Here comes Nixon. Here comes Ralph Abernathy. Here comes James Lawson. Here comes, we can go on and on and on. It's always a collective endeavor based on individual choices.
Yeah. To your mind, what would be the takeaway for us? Again, I want to put this in a broader frame. We're talking about these economic boycotts on Black Friday, and today, of course, being Cyber Monday, and just the impact that we can make when we are more judicious with our dollars. Dr. Malveaux made the point in our first hour that 70% of the earnings in most of these corporations come from consumer spending. Now, they have investments and other things they make money off of, but 70% of their revenue comes from the money we spend in these various retailers and other product producers. So we have a real impact on their bottom line when we pull our money back. We talked again in the first hour about the impact that this boycott against Target has had, and their earnings are down. And they ran the CEO out the back door. So they got a new CEO coming in. Their earnings are down. So our careful and targeted spending, pardon the pun, can in fact have an impact on the bottom line of these corporations. 70 years to the day after the Montgomery Bus Boycott started, what's your takeaway? What's the message for us in real time, again, about the power that we have to impact the bottom line of corporations, no matter how we do that?
Yeah, I think we learned from Richard Pryor. When you say he's the freest black man of the 20th century alongside Muhammad Ali, that's true. Now, what does it mean to be free? It means that you are a self-respecting person, you're a self-determining person, and you believe in self-defense. You believe in protecting those who you love who are being crushed. Those three pillars, self-defense, self-determination, self-respect, ought to be at the center of who we are. And when you do that, you want to get off people's plantation. You don't want to be exploited. You don't want to be taken advantage of. You don't want to be disrespected and disregarded. And it means then that, like Rosa, you decide, I'm going to be a free woman, black woman in Jim Crow, Alabama. I've already been manifesting that. I'm going to sit down in order to be free, not just individually, but for a people. So it is in terms of boycott, so it is in terms of sanctions, so it is in terms of organization, so it is in terms of any means of bringing power and pressure to bear to change the world in such a way that poor and working people have their dignity affirmed.
You may have heard this story before in one of my books, if you have. You might recall this, but I've told this story once before. I'll tell it again right quick here because it's on my mind as Doc is talking about Rosa Parks. So Dr. West knows this. I got to know Mrs. Parks rather well because while she lived in Detroit, she eventually moved from Alabama, of course, to Detroit, worked for the late, great Congressman John Conyers. And I got to know Mrs. Parks because every winter after she retired from working for John Conyers, she'd come to L.A. to stay with the Nicholas family. Think of the famous Nicholas brothers. She would come literally every winter from Detroit to L.A. to stay with the Nicholas brothers. I knew the Nicholas family, and as a result, got to know Mrs. Parks. And so it was the occasion, it was my opportunity, my joy, frankly, on many, many Sundays when she was here living in L.A. during the winter months in Detroit, to take her to church on Sundays. I got a picture in my office of Mrs. Parks and I walking in and out of many churches. Doc has seen that photo. So here I am spending time with Mrs. Parks every year around this time, and we got to be friends. But I would go to Detroit, I would go to her house, I would spend time with her. So I considered it one of the high moments of my life to have become a friend of Mrs. Rosa Parks. And it just so happened that I'm 24, 25 books in now. But the very first book I wrote, the very first book signing I did alongside Rosa Parks here in Los Angeles. Her book had just come out. My little book had come out. We're sitting at a table today, seated at a table together. There's a line out the door, down the hallway, out the building, down the sidewalk. Hundreds of folk lined up to meet Mrs. Parks and get their book signed. We sit at this table, Doc, and I sit in this seat first, closest to the line. She sits on the other side. When she was walking in to sit on the other side, and she whispered in my ear. She said, "Tavis, why don't we change seats?" And I'm like, "Sure, whatever Mrs. Parks wants." And I didn't understand it until 20 minutes later when that line got moving. If Rosa Parks had signed books first, I wouldn't have sold a book. She had us change seats. So that folk had to get through me to get to her. And when I realized that, I said, man, you talking about, that did something to me. And so I sold a bunch of books that day, more than I would have ever sold on my very first book signing for my very first book, because she had us change seats where they got to me first and then they went to her second. And it's just a moment that I will never forget, but just another example, so many examples of the love and just decency that existed inside of Mrs. Rosa Parks. Let me close on this note. I got 2 minutes to go. You've said this more than once. You said it today. I've heard you lecture about this. Why, to your mind, are Richard Pryor and Muhammad Ali two of the freest black men that ever walked the face of the earth?
Well, because as the great Sly Stone says in his autobiography, that Richard Pryor was always ever him. He wasn't trying to be somebody else. And in that, he was like Job. Remember John Calvin's great sermons on Job says what? Job was the exemplar of integrity. And when you're a person of integrity, you're not into imitation and copying and emulation. You have the courage to be yourself, to find out who you fundamentally are, what you are here for, what your mission and vocation and purpose is, and then you pursue it on your own terms. That's Richard Pryor, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Only with Cornel
and
West.
That's down in Washington, too.
I've got to say.
Lord, let us be two. Let us be two.
Only with Dr. West in 30 minutes can you talk about Lettucey and Dinah Washington and Che Guevara and Martin and Malcolm and Rosa and Richard and Muhammad Ali. We did all that in 30 minutes. That's why I love him. Dr. West is here every Monday and Thursday, top of the second hour. Doc, we'll talk again on Thursday. Until then, love you. Thanks for your insights, man.
Love you. Stay strong, man.
Lord, this bit of earth.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Dozens of new laws go into effect this week, including a bathroom bill. It's the Texas Women's Privacy Act, which conservatives have been pushing for the last decade.
Worked on for about the last 8 years, so definitely a huge victory.
That's Mary Elizabeth Castle with Texas Values. She says the bill slaps limits on women's restrooms and locker rooms, restricting them based on biological sex. A Southside Chicago church is picking up the pieces after a Thanksgiving Day fire destroyed Renewal Life Church. No injuries were reported. Services moved to Fairfield Baptist this past Sunday as the pastor plans to rebuild. And many veterans, including black veterans, face PTSD and barriers to care due to stigma and racial disparities. Advocates like Dr. Deandra Poe and James Harris, a veteran, stress culturally competent care and breaking mental health stigmas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a mixed bag for LA's NFL teams on Sunday. The Carolina Panthers snapped the Rams' 6-game winning streak. The Chargers beat the Las Vegas Raiders 31-14, but quarterback Justin Herbert suffered a fractured bone in his left hand. Herbert will have surgery today. No word yet on how long Herbert will be out. In Carolina's 31-28 win, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford was intercepted twice. One of the interceptions was returned for a touchdown. It was the first time Stafford had thrown an interception since Week 3 at Philadelphia on September 21st. The Lakers won their 7th straight. They beat New Orleans 133-121. LeBron sat out the game with a sore foot. Luka Doncic had 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Lakers are 15-4. The Clippers are in Miami tonight. The 5-15 Clippers have lost 4 straight. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Families have been loving LifeSource Whole House Water Systems for over 40 years. And now when you buy LifeSource, you can save up to $1,000 with the no sales tax special. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Ends December 31st. Warranty limitations apply.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
You are indeed. We thank Dr. West for checking in as he always does every Monday and Thursday, top of the second hour. All right, let's move forward. The shooter who ambushed National Guard troops on Thanksgiving Eve, just blocks from the White House, was an Afghan national who worked with the CIA. He entered the U.S. in September 2021 under Operation Allies Welcome. That would be the Biden administration's Afghan evacuation and resettlement program. And while there has certainly been criticism over the past few days of the Biden administration's vetting process, the shooting suspect was actually granted asylum by Donald Trump. But that has not stopped Donald Trump from going all in on immigrants. In any event, if you missed all of this over the Thanksgiving holiday, we'll get you caught up right about now that we are joined by Shawn VanDiver, founder and president of Afghan Evac. Shawn, good to have you on. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Tavis. Thanks for having me on. I'm drowning from all of the updates on this thing, but really glad to be here.
No, I'm glad to have you on. Let me just read what Donald Trump posted on Thanksgiving Day. It's a lot to even process, as you'll hear. He posted this on his True Social account, but just listen to what he has to say. I'm going to read as quickly as I can. Read what he had to say, and just be mindful that he posted this.
This is in all caps, right?
Yeah, pretty much. He posted this on Thanksgiving Day. I quote, "Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. End all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long." Close quote. That's what Donald Trump had to say on Thanksgiving Day. I could spend hours just deciphering and just going line by line, Shawn, if I had the time, of what he had to say here. I ain't got that kind of time. So writ large, what do you make of what Trump said on Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I mean, it's all nonsense, right? The American people by now know that Donald Trump's a liar. They know that Kash Patel's a liar. Kristi Noem's a liar. J.D. Vance is a liar. And it pains me to say that. I served in the Navy for 12 years. And people should be able to trust the information coming from their government. All of that stuff is like Stephen Miller just working his mouth, right? And it's crazy to me that, Donald Trump doesn't like to be anybody's puppet, according to him. And yet Stephen Miller is essentially the president right now. So much of that message was wrong. And it's so sad to me that he would take this tragedy, which we're learning is more a commentary on mental health access in our country and the ways that we fight our foreign wars and the consequences of our foreign wars, than it is about any immigration or any immigrant. Yeah. It's really upsetting to me that they're trying to vilify all Afghans and all third world country migrants, but there's some really dangerous stuff in there, right? They're talking about people that don't add a net benefit. Well, how do you define that? Mm-hmm. People that aren't compatible with Western values, denaturalization. It sounds like they're trying to make sure that anybody who's an immigrant that is naturalized here, who might speak up, who might have an opinion different than Donald Trump's or Stephen Miller's, might have their citizenship stripped. Now, keep in mind, these are the free speech warriors, right? They were like, Charlie Kirk's the best. He cares about free speech. But they're continually trying to limit the free speech of anybody who disagrees with them. They're trying to limit the free speech of the press. They cleared out the press room at the White House and the Pentagon. They kicked out a bunch of the press at the Pentagon for people that didn't agree with them. And it all keeps coming back to these people are liars. And the American public, while we still have elections, we've got to make sure that we're standing up, speaking out, doing the right thing, And it can't be on immigrant communities to fix this. It's got to be on people who look like me to fix this, right? People who look like Donald Trump and Stephen Miller. And, we know that the Republican Party doesn't believe in what they're saying. I know that because we've seen Republicans out there speaking on behalf of Afghans. But look, there can be no question that what happened to Sarah Beckstrom and Mr. Wolf is awful. That cannot happen in our country. And this man who perpetrated these acts has to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. But only he needs to be held accountable. Unless we're going to start trying to throw veterans. Like, am I going to get thrown out of the country the next time a veteran shoots up a place? What happens when it's twice in one day, 13 hours apart? Because that happened in September. Timothy McVeigh blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City after serving in Iraq. I served off the coast of Iraq. They didn't throw me out as a consequence of him having done that, right? I just don't understand what the hell they're thinking at all.
Let me ask a couple questions. That makes two of us, and for that matter, a lot in this audience, I'm sure. So there are more than two of us who don't understand what they're thinking either. But let me go back right quick to your comment about Miller. And no naivete here. I think I know where you're going here. When you say that for all intents and purposes that Stephen Miller is now the president, my mind went to Dick Cheney. We saw the funeral of Dick Cheney some days ago, and you know exactly where I'm going. There are many who believe that the real president during the Bush era was Dick Cheney, not so much George W. Bush. And I hear you making that same argument now about Stephen Miller. Unpack that for me right quick.
Sure. Like, Stephen Miller seems to be in charge of everything domestically, right?
Yeah.
We know that there were people, Mike Waltz, the current ambassador to the UN, was a strong advocate for Afghans. We know that there are people in the White House who were strong advocates for Afghans, but they were afraid of Stephen Miller. They didn't want to go and take him on because he is Donald Trump's most special boy. He just seems to, it's all his ideas, like this remigration idea, that comes straight out of Stephen Miller's playbook. And it's fundamentally un-American. Ronald Reagan would be rolling over in his grave if he knew what was happening. And that's saying a lot. It's just so hard for me as a veteran to see what is happening right here. And I know that the American public aren't being tricked by this. And like Donald Trump's approval ratings at like 15% right now or something like that. It's crazy. And they're not changing course. They're doubling down. I am a little bit worried that maybe President Trump is not as, like, maybe he actually believes this because the advisors around him are either stupid or lying to him, right? Because he had said nice things about Afghans before. But, I saw Kristi Noem all over the Sunday shows talking about how vetting didn't happen. And that couldn't be further from the truth, right? The vetting for Operation Allies Welcome happened before they left the airport in Kabul. And a couple people got through to third country locations where they were then removed to Kosovo. There were a couple people that had stuff pop after they got to the U.S. They were removed to Kosovo, removed from our country. In Kosovo, they underwent more security screening, and some people never came here.
Yeah.
Most people never came here that were removed for that. So, and then the entire time that folks are in a temporary status here, they undergo continuous vetting. And then as they were normalizing their status, they underwent more vetting.
Yeah.
Now, the failures of Operation Allies Welcome with the vetting were remedied in Enduring Welcome, not Operation, just Enduring Welcome, which was the program that Afghan evac worked with the Biden administration to set up. It became our strongest, safest, most secure legal immigration pathway in our country's history. And Stephen Miller shut it down, which seems incongruous with what he talks about, right?
Yeah.
It seems like if you care about strong national security and legal immigration, you would want the safest, most secure legal immigration pathway in our country's history.
No, but to your point, though, he did, in fact, Steve Miller shut it down. But this Truth Social post from Donald Trump on Thanksgiving is dangerous. Permanently pausing migration from all third world countries. You get kicked out if you're not a net asset to the U.S. What does that mean? As Shawn said earlier, denaturalizing migrants. People who are non-compatible with Western civilization have to go. Reverse migration. There's a whole lot in this thing that's dangerous. And again, you have this sort of broad terminology. It's ugly and vicious, but the terminology is so broad as to include anybody that they want to deport on any given day. We'll come back to that in just a second here. He mentioned Kristi Noem on all the Sunday shows. Indeed, she was. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, also has something to say about it. Take a listen, and then we'll come forward.
What these lawmakers are doing, what some of these news anchors on other networks are doing, what their guests are saying is disgusting. It's despicable. They should be praising our men and women in law enforcement. And we are looking at everything they have said and why they said it and if they encouraged acts of violence. But it is, it's actually sad what our country has come to with these progressive left idiots who are doing this and saying this about our heroes who are keeping them safe. And some of the people, let me continue, who are saying this, they have security details to keep them safe. It's unbelievable to me.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GOLD for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GOLD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GOLD for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Shawn VanDiver, who was with Afghan evac, talking about Donald Trump's post on Thanksgiving Day that you may or may not have missed. But he's causing for a permanent pause in migration from all third world countries and no more asylum applications, at least for the moment. I played a clip a moment ago of Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, blaming progressive left idiots for this hatred against the National Guard. It never ceases to amaze me how they come out almost immediately and blame the left. It doesn't matter what it is. My granddad used to always say, Tavis, I don't know what the question is, but the answer is gin. That was my granddad. I don't know what the question is, but the answer is gin. I don't know what really happened, but just blame the left. That seems to be their go-to play all the time. What do you make of her blaming progressive left idiots for this attack?
I mean, it's just more bullshit, right? Like, the truth is that she would have said that no matter what. They always keep doing that. This administration doesn't care about facts. They care about political PR, and it's really frustrating to me, right? Like, we work in a bipartisan, nonpartisan fashion, and it's not partisan to tell the truth about things, right? It's not partisan to be like, hey, this happened. I don't think it's a progressive idea that we shouldn't be snatched up off the streets by masked and unidentified individuals. That's sort of I work with a lot of Afghans. That's a Taliban principle. Taliban does that. And that's why Afghans here are so upset. And we're getting notified right now of ICE calling up Afghans and telling them they need to come check in and then snatching them. That's happening right now in Sacramento. I'm sure it's happening in LA. I'm sure it's happening in San Diego. And what can people do?
Yeah, that's the question.
We're going to need an emergency injunction. I hope somebody's suing right now. It's really, really frustrating. And so it actually makes it so much less serious. The seriousness of this moment is not matched by Pam Bondi's rhetoric or Kash Patel's rhetoric. They think that this is a game, and this is not a game. These are people's lives. And
the rhetoric is flying. There's no question about it. The rhetoric is flying all over the place, from Donald Trump and his True Social posts, Pam Bondi, and the clip I just played, as you mentioned, Christine Noem on the TV shows on Sunday. Everybody blaming the left. Again, I don't know what the dilemma is, or what the scenario is, what the problem is, but just blame the left for it. They're good about that. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Shawn VanDiver, a couple more questions about what we can do. What agency do the American people have in this at the moment? And I wonder whether or not now might be a good moment to sort of re-examine the role of the CIA. That part of the conversation ain't being talked about yet. We know this Afghan worked with the CIA, but ain't nobody talking about re-examining the CIA. That's a whole nother conversation for another time, but we'll talk about it for a moment, at least when we come forward in our remaining moments with Shawn VanDiver of Afghan Evac. You're listening to him right now, and I'm glad about it, on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Mayfresh Daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
You posed a question earlier, Shawn VanDiver, and I hope not at all rhetorically, but before I get to the CIA and my closing question here, what agency do we have? We see our government moving in ways that are blaming migrants. We see Donald Trump moving to shut down migration from all third world countries. We went through all the nonsense he said in his True Social post. What agency do we have? What do we expect the opposition, Democrats, to do? What next?
Sure. Well, thank you for asking me that. The number one thing that we're trying to do is get the actual facts out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not a conversation about Afghans. This is a conversation about what we do on the back end of our wars and how we make sure we take care of the people that are fighting, whether they're American veterans or our wartime allies. We've got to make sure that they're getting the support that they need, and that our domestic security infrastructure is both well-funded and well overseen. Oversight is so important for the CIA, for the military, for our domestic security apparatus. If your listeners want to help, they can go to afghanevac.org/donate and support our efforts to keep communicating, keep making sure the Afghans know what they need to do, keep talking to Congress and keep talking to the executive, and keep making sure that the record is correct and that our country doesn't continue staining our national honor around this issue and other issues.
Yeah, my extra question was whether or not now might be a good time for us to re-examine what the CIA is up to these days.
Yeah, I mean, look, oversight is so important, and it doesn't seem like there's any oversight on any agencies right now. I'm more concerned right now about our domestic security agencies, the massive influx of funding that ICE and DHS just got, with seemingly no oversight. Congress is asleep at the wheel. Certainly the CIA needs oversight as well, and they need to take care of their people. Famously, the CIA doesn't take very good care of their people on the back end, the psychological pieces, the sources that they're using. I'm sure they take care of their own staff just fine. I think more oversight, more civilian oversight from Congress is so important. It's probably the most important thing that we can do to keep our democracy healthy and thriving, or restore our democracy to a healthy and thriving democracy. They need the tools to keep our country safe, but they also need protections in place to make sure that overzealous people don't cause irreparable national harm.
Nope, Donald Trump is clearly attempting to scapegoat these Afghanis for this shooting on November the 26th that they had nothing to do with. But to his point, why should all of us be painted with this broad brush, and why should asylum applications be denied? People from certain countries around the globe. But this is Donald Trump. Shawn VanDiver, founding president of Afghan EVAC. Shawn, thanks for the insights. Good to have you on the program.
Thanks so much, Tavis. Hope you come back soon.
Thank you, sir. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Dozens of new laws go into effect this week, including a bathroom bill. It's the Texas Women's Privacy Act, which conservatives have been pushing for the last decade.
Worked on for about the last 8 years, so definitely a huge victory.
That's Mary Elizabeth Castle with Texas Values. She says the bill slaps limits on women's restrooms and locker rooms, restricting them based on biological sex. A Southside Chicago church is picking up the pieces after a Thanksgiving Day fire destroyed Renewal Life Church. No injuries were reported. Services moved to Fairfield Baptist this past Sunday as the pastor plans to rebuild. And many veterans, including Black veterans, face PTSD and barriers to care due to stigma and racial disparities. Advocates like Dr. Deandra Poe and James Harris, a veteran, stress culturally competent care and breaking mental health stigmas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tether? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a mixed bag for LA's NFL teams on Sunday. The Carolina Panthers snapped the Rams' 6-game winning streak. The Chargers beat the Las Vegas Raiders 31-14, but quarterback Justin Herbert suffered a fractured bone in his left hand. Herbert will have surgery today. No word yet on how long Herbert will be out. In Carolina's 31-28 win, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford was intercepted twice. One of the interceptions was returned for a touchdown. It was the first time Stafford had thrown an interception since Week 3 at Philadelphia on September 21st. The Lakers won their 7th straight. They beat New Orleans 133-121. LeBron sat out the game with a sore foot. Luka Doncic had 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Lakers are 15-4. The Clippers are in Miami tonight. The 5-15 Clippers have lost 4 straight. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Remember